When I was 15, I had a friend that I used to hang around. He was one of the smartest people in my class, and we were on our way walking one evening down this path. I think we were going to go get some weed, or we were coming back from buying weed, and he randomly just said out of the blue, "You're the dumbest person I know." Being about 15, my mind was pretty gullible and pretty weak, and I was doing a lot of the bad habits at the time, like smoking drugs. So I literally took his word for it, and this stuck in my mind for years, and I literally thought I was a pretty stupid person, like of the bottom of the class for a long time. And to make matters worse, my sister used to call me a dumbass a lot. Just know, if this is happening to you, just know that people that do say things to put you down usually don't feel secure about themselves, so they're actually quite insecure about themselves. So it's not you, it's usually them. Pretty much every time it is them. But if you think there's an ounce of truth to what they're saying, even just a tiny bit, bro, you have to wake the fuck up and actually take that criticism as constructive criticism and actually do something about it. So you have to start improving yourself. Otherwise, your mindset will be just so gloomy. You'll feel like shit because you're not doing anything to progress your life, and you're turning away to the drugs or video games or whatever it is in your life that you want to run away to, and be a coward literally because you're not facing your fears. You're not doing the hard work when you don't feel like it. Your discipline might be shit. You don't have a schedule. You're just mindlessly wandering through life, trying to get that fix of dopamine or that good feeling from food. It could be for entertainment, or even just drinking, drugs. A lot of bad habits that you will start to form, and then you'll get stuck into these habits, and it'll be basically digging a hole for yourself. And when you dig a hole for yourself, the further down you get, it's going to be hard to get back up, right? So you need to take control of your life. If you're getting criticized for something and you think there's an ounce of truth to it, even though the person might be quite insecure about themselves. Okay, so you've taken this constructive criticism and realized that you want to be smarter. So I've got 18 steps to make you smarter. The first one is to meditate. So this will increase your concentration, your focus, your presence. You'll be happier, you'll be calmer, relieve anxiety, overall well-being, and you'll be more gracious and have more gratitude towards other people. Step 2 is to learn as much as you can. So this means anything that interests you would be a good place to start, because that will get your body and mind in the right place to do the good habits all the time. If you like to optimize, say, your diet to feel better, or you want to go to the gym, just research stuff like that constantly. So every day you want to be doing at least 1 minute at the beginning. That's because you want to get into the habit of doing the good habits of learning. Do it early in the day within the first 8 hours of waking up. That's the best time to be starting these habits. If you can, try to make yourself feel good, and I'll give you some more tips on how to feel good early in the day to really increase the likelihood of these habits sticking. So when you're learning, you'll want to be learning from the top people in their field, and books are a fantastic way to learn from fantastic people. If there's a certain book that you really want to read, look at reviews on the internet. That will usually give you a good idea if it's a book that's worth reading. Google is your friend here. If you want to, say, look at self-improvement, just Google top self-improvement books and then look at the reviews for all the books. My favourite book is How to Win Friends and Influence People, and that brings us to step number 3, which is to socialise more. To socialise more means you're practicing being more present with people, having richer conversations. This will help you throughout life in all endeavours. We are social creatures. We need socialisation. We need to be able to make people feel better, make people feel important, act appropriately, because we want to move forward in life and we want to get things done. We want to have comfort socialising with other people. This will also increase your confidence, and connections can be extremely powerful, and they can help you progress through life and level up in the world. It's also quite enjoyable once you start socialising more, but make sure it's with the right people. So I wasn't going to put this step next, but yeah, we'll go for step 4, which would be don't have shitty friends. So shitty friends are the ones that constantly have negative thoughts all the time. They're putting you down. Perhaps it is constructive. You have to work that out for yourself. So if they're saying something that is quite negative towards you, if there's an ounce of truth you think in that, then take that ounce of truth. But if they keep being negative towards you, they're probably shitty friends. And you probably know which friends are shitty or not. If you don't have many friends and you have, just say, one friend you hang out with and he constantly puts you down, he's probably a shitty friend, and you should just seek out other people. Maybe join a club. Could be even something simple as magic cards. I don't know if you kids play those anymore. Or a sport. Or just hang out with random people. If you're going to school, you can probably find groups in the library. Usually they're quite friendly. Well, I hope they are. Or literally just see what people are doing around you, and if there's something you like about them, just let them know, and you'll get a response, and that response will let you know that they could be a potential friend. If the response is not what you feel comfortable with and you just want to get out of there, then they're probably not going to be a great friend. So the first time you see someone and you let them know that you really appreciate something genuinely about them, their response will tell you if they're good friend material. Okay, step 5 might seem a bit extreme, but if you really want to improve and maximize your life, your optimization of your whole entire life, you want to be on a dopamine detox. So that means to cut out video games, entertainment of pretty much any kind, unless it's educational, and you have to work that one out for yourself. So if you're, say, watching The Big Short because you want to learn more about the stock market and how to make money, it's not really, that's more definitely classed as more entertainment than learning. So usually things that are more on the boring side of things is what you want to be doing, but let me tell you that once you quit video games and hyperstimulating activities like that, or consuming series of extremely entertaining sci-fi, quite action, fantastic dialogue, characters, scripts, action scenes that really give you that dopamine hit. Once you cut all that out, the boring stuff becomes so much more interesting, and you can feel way more interested in the boring educational videos or books even just reading words on the page will not seem as hard, but you really have to take that step and start decreasing the amount of time that you're spending on social media and all these entertaining venues that increase the bad dopamines, so to speak. A terrible dopamine hits, the terrible dopamine hits that I used to get from watching shorts or TikTok type material that constantly, I remember this video, it was a compilation of good feeling or good life compilation. Those really drain your dopamine, so you're just getting massive spikes of dopamine, and then once you finish with the video, you just don't feel like doing anything because your body's just so exhausted from all that amazing dopamine that you've got from doing the bad habit. So you want to cut out definitely those short type entertainment video clips as well. Okay, the next step is you want to cut out all sugar and eat healthy foods, so just literally base ingredients. So this means when you go to the supermarket, you go to the fruit and veg section, everything there is a base ingredient. If you're buying something that's in a can, don't really recommend it, but if you are trying to save money, you can start like that, but the plastics might leach into the food because there's actually internal lining in the tin cans that have plastic in there. But if you're just buying something off the shelf that's in a plastic wrapper, which I still do, I still buy raw peanuts because I can't find anywhere that doesn't have them in plastic. I probably should look harder, but just eat base ingredients. You'll have to taper down on the sugars and unhealthy foods if you're quite addicted to those type of foods. Next step is intermittent fasting. So basically you have a window of eating which is usually 8 hours of the day where you eat, and the rest of the 16 hours of the day you're not eating. So you can drink water, you can drink coffee in that time, but scientific studies have shown that this is really good for your body to kind of reset, and it actually makes you feel better as well, and it gives you more clarity, and that's also what eating healthy does to you as well. It gives you more mental clarity, which in turn makes you smarter. Next step is to increase baseline dopamine. To do this, cold exposure is a fantastic healthy way to elevate your baseline dopamine levels. So it's the feeling of feeling good throughout the day. So by having a cold shower, you'll elevate your dopamine levels up to 6 hours after having the cold exposure. So the extreme end is ice baths, but if you're just starting out, cold showers are probably the next best thing. So early in the morning is the best time to be elevating these dopamine levels. And that kind of brings us on to the next step, which is caffeine intake. So 200 milligrams is usually the maximum you want to be consuming in one dose. That depends on your body weight though. So if you're under 70 kilos, that might be a bit too much for you, but there's a formula. So it's 3 milligrams per kilo of body weight in one dose, maximum you want to be consuming. But you do not want to be consuming caffeine too late in the day. Ideally, you want to be consuming caffeine no later than 12 hours before going to sleep. So that probably means in the morning. And this will actually increase the release of dopamine you get out of your system. And if you have it on an empty stomach, it will be much more effective. And it's also great to start building good habits on caffeine. Next step is to increase testosterone. So by eating 8 eggs a day, that will give you a nice healthy boost of testosterone. Getting adequate sunlight throughout the day, as much as you can without getting burnt safely. So early in the morning, getting it in your eyes is great because it sets your circadian rhythm, releases your cortisol as well early in the day, which is a stress hormone, and you want to be releasing that as early as you can to get that stress out of your system, because if you didn't know, cortisol is what actually wakes you up in the morning. So by releasing that early in the day, you'll have a much less stressful type day. And I'm pretty sure if you're fapping a lot or wanking masturbation, right, that's probably going to decrease your testosterone. So you definitely want to get a control of that and be serious about yourself. If you really want to improve and feel better at anything in life, be smarter, picking up girls, whatever it is, fapping, masturbation, and I've experienced it, you just have way decreased levels of feeling good. Next step is to get 8 hours of sleep. So I said before, try not to consume caffeine after 12 o'clock or 12 hours before going to sleep, because even if you are getting 8 hours of sleep but you're consuming caffeine too late in the day, it can actually disrupt the amount of REM and non-REM sleep that you're getting, which can impair you for the next day. This is a little bit cost extreme. I mean, to me it's not, but if you were to get a genetic test, they can actually tell you if you have the enzymes that break down caffeine quite well. So I'm actually awaiting my results now, and I've actually cut down my caffeine a lot, but I can do a different video on my experiences with caffeine and the genetic test and my sleep. Next step is to not do drugs. So this means anything like weed, meth, ketamine. There's so many illegal drugs out there. Pretty much all of them you do not want to be taking. I used to think that drugs actually make me smarter, but in actual fact, they actually make you dumber. So I'm not saying don't have caffeine. Caffeine is literally the only drug you want to be taking, but make sure it's early in the day and not 12 hours before going to sleep, ideally. Next step is to do a gratitude practice. The best way to do this is to visualize the last time someone was genuinely giving you gratitude. Write down about 4 bullet points. How you felt before you got the gratitude, how you felt after you received the gratitude, how the other person felt before they gave you the gratitude, and how they felt after giving you the gratitude. And so put these down in bullet points, and really add some bullet points if you have to increase the emotion you can feel. Set a timer for 1 minute, do this every day. Just feel into that story, feel the emotions really piping up within you, but it has to be an authentic story, and an authentic giving of gratitude and receiving the gratitude. So make sure you relive that gratitude story with 110% of your emotions. Next step is to have a purpose. So you need a goal in life to strive for. It might be trying to get that 10 out of 10 aesthetic body. It might be starting a YouTube channel and uploading videos every day. It could be your family, raising your kids properly. It could be your work. You maybe want to progress the ladder, become a manager. There's so many different things, but you really have to have a purpose, and you need to find out what that is. Best way to do this is to list 3 areas of your life, which is health and fitness, relationships, and work. And then literally bullet point down everything under each of those headers. Once you have done that, just put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up until you've finished putting a number next to each of those sub-headings underneath: health and fitness, relationships and work. And then allocate what you want to the top 2 or 3 things. The more you focus on the top things, the more successful you'll be in those areas. Drink enough water. This is the next step. So stay properly hydrated throughout the day. There is a Huberman Water podcast, but to summarize, basically just make sure you're drinking, a cup of water at least every hour or so. And if you're exercising, you'll have to consume a bit more. Next step is to don't inhibit yourself. So when you talk, you want to not really think. This is if you are the inhibited type, which is the type that constantly in social situations they're circulating thoughts inside their head too much and they're not talking enough. This used to be me. I used to go to a gathering of say 10 people sitting at the table. I'd probably say a few sentences to someone next to me, and then for the next 2 hours or 3 hours I would literally freeze up. I wouldn't say anything because I'd be overthinking way too much. Like, I'd be having conversations inside my head which were unhealthy for 2 hours, and you look like that socially awkward mute person, and it's definitely not a nice place to be in. So if that is you, you want to be practicing not being inhibited, so being, I think it's exhibited, which means to literally speak before you think, or do things before you think. So it could be trying to ask that girl out, literally do the actions before you even think about what you're going to say. And it is a skill, so the more you practice it, the better you'll be, and the more confident and social flow will just breeze. I feel like it breezes through your life, so you'll just feel so much happier and more confident, and everything will just flow out of your mind. Next step is to believe that stress enhances your performance. So if you literally believe stress enhances your performance will increase. And the opposite is true, so don't believe that stress won't enhance your performance and that it's a negative thing. So just believe that it's going to make you feel good, make you feel positive, that stress elevates your mood, and you will feel fantastic. Last tip is, if you want to focus on work and you're in quite a distracting environment, just use binaural beats. So that means to put headphones on, go to YouTube, that's where I go to get my binaural beats, and then just play 40 hertz binaural beats, which will increase focus. Obviously, there are other ways to increase focus that might work for you. It might not be obvious, but you can just look for music that you like that can actually enhance your mood. But just know, if you're on a dopamine detox, that music will sound so much more powerful and give you so much more emotional impact throughout your life. So you can use that to your advantage in the right situations. If you're literally doing all these steps, fantastic, you've done amazingly well. If you're just starting out, then try to just do 1 minute every day and schedule it in for your day. I think I'm giving you 18 tips. Not all of them are time blocking sensitive, so to speak. But if you're doing the habits, good habits every day for literally 1 minute, you can build that up to 2 minutes the next week or the week after, and then just keep doubling and doubling down on what you're doing, and your life will be fantastic. You'll feel smarter, you have less distractions, you'll be more focused, you'll be more present with people, you'll just have a happier life, and being happier makes you smarter. Love you. Just wanted to say that when you are happier, that it makes you smarter is because you won't be stressed, you'll be thinking positive thoughts all the time, you won't be thinking negative thoughts that recur in your mind, so you have more mental clarity, which literally most of these things give you, these steps that I've given you. So it's an amazing tool, and I hope you have fun with it and just be a better version of yourself for you and for everyone that you love around yourself and your family. Love you so much.